Hi Robbins, I've got a bit of a funny story to read you today. It's one of my favourites and it's called The Story of the Little Mole Who Knew It Was None of His Business. Now you might think, oh, is he being a bit nosy by somebody saying it's none of his business? But then if you look very closely, the mole has got something on his head. Is it a hat? We'll find out. It's really funny, this one is. One day, the little mole poked his head out from underground to see whether the sun had already risen. Then it happened. It looked a little like a sausage, and the worst thing was that it landed right on his head. "How mean!" cried the little mole. "Who has done this on my head?" But he was so short-sighted that he couldn't see anyone around. "Something's pooed on his head." "Did you do this on my head?" he asked the dove, who was flying past. "Me? No, how could I? I do it like this," she answered. And splish splish, a moist white blob landed on the ground right next to the little mole. His right leg was splashed with white. "Did you do this to my head?" he asked the horse who was grazing in the pasture. "Me? No, how could I? I do it like this." And flump plump, 5 big fat horsey apples plopped down within a hair's breadth of the mole. He was very impressed. "Did you do this on my head?" he asked the hare. "Me? No, how could I do it? I do it like this," answered the hare. And rat-tat-tat-tat, 15 round little beans shot past the mole's ears. He saved himself with a daring leap. "Did you do this on my head?" he asked the goat, who had been dreaming a little. "Me? No, how could I? I do it like this," she replied. And plippity-plop, a pile of toffee-coloured balls tumbled on the grass. The little mole found them most appealing. "Did you do this on my head?" he asked the cow, who was chewing the cud. "Me? No, how could I? I do it like this." And kerplosh, a big brownish green pancake flopped into the grass just next to the mole. He was very relieved that he hadn't been the cow that had done something on his head. Imagine if that landed on your head. "Did you do this on my head?" he asked the pig. "Me? No, how could I? I do it like this," replied the pig. And plop splat, a little soft brown pile fell on the grass. The mole held his nose. "Did you do this on my—" he was going to ask again, but as he came closer he saw only 2 big fat black flies, and they were eating. "At last someone who will be able to help me," thought the mole. "Who did this on my head?" he asked excitedly. "Keep nice and still," buzzed the flies. There was a short pause, and then, "It is clear to us that it was a dog." Oh, the dog pooed on his head. Finally, the little mole knew had done the business on his head. Basil, the butcher's dog. Naughty Basil. What do you think Mole will do to Basil? Quick as a flash, he climbed onto Basil's kennel, and blink, a tiny black sausage landed right on top of the dog's head. You see, tiny little poo. He's pooed on the dog's head. Satisfied at last, the little mole disappeared happily into his hole underground. What a funny story, a story all about poo. I think some of the boys in my class, in the Robins, would like that story. I can picture you now giggling away at that story, and some of the girls too. Hope you enjoyed that one, and I will see you all really soon. Well, hopefully really soon. Who knows? Take care, everyone. Bye bye.